Diedra, welcome to the Trash or Cash podcast.
It's a no. We stop while we ahead and turn around or it's a go. Trash or it's cash, go on ahead, submit your vote. Hey yo, check dig, you're now tuned in to Trash or Cash podcast. The show where the host will present a new idea and debate whether it's trash or cash. But the final decision is solely up to you, the audience.
Diedra, welcome to the Trash or Cash podcast, where we get together and talk a little trash and a little cash. But what does that mean? So right now, the show, I know this is the first exposure, but it's about entrepreneurs. It's for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. You're an entrepreneur in the real estate space and some other things.
Yes.
Multiple streams of income. We all got to have them. And it's for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. And I'm an entrepreneur too. Again, multiple streams. That's what we're here to do. We're about to talk about ideas and maybe some of those multiple streams, get to know each other a little bit. Okay. And then kind of Shark Tank style, we're going to pitch each other an idea and see if it could be a good idea that would make money either in our business or maybe it's something you heard, just to see if it was worthwhile or not. And if it is or it isn't, if it's trash or if it's cash, why? Okay. Because why? Because people are going to learn from it. Maybe they had the same idea. Maybe the idea already exists. And the point is to get something out of your head that's been spinning around there a while and bothering you, and you just want to know, is you is or is you ain't my baby? That's what you're trying to find out. So ideas obviously are one thing, but reality is another. So we don't know if it's trash or cash until we get it out into the world. And that's what this is about, getting it out into the world, seeing if it's going to live or die on its own. And who knows, we might create the next unicorn sitting here talking to each other. Somebody might see this and be like, wow, I'm going to do that. And one of the things, to be honest, is a lot of people that I talk to say, well, I don't want to share that because that's mine. Well, guess what? If you're not going to do nothing with it, what's the point? Do you want to see something in the world? If you want to see it in the world, maybe you don't got the time or the resources. So maybe you don't have the time, resources, connections, whatever, but you still want to see it in the world. You'd use it. If you as a customer would use it, that's valid.
Yes.
There's probably, if you would use it, maybe there's 1 million more people, 2 million, 1 billion, who knows? So nothing is wrong. It's just ideas. And hopefully from this podcast and all the episodes, we spark a couple of goodies because, that's the fun part of all this is creating things on the spot. So with that, I'm going to let you have the floor. So you are Diedra Smith.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a sir. Come on, man. Okay, so we got to talk trash. You can call me a nickname. Make me up a nickname right now. I'm going to call you D. You can call me J.
J? Okay, J Money.
J Money. J Money. Yeah. I've had that before. So J Money it is. And how about, I don't want to say D Money. What? Let me see. What can we go with? D bags.
No.
All right. I'm going to just keep it D.
Okay.
Keep it 100 D. All right,
okay.
D. So what should we know? Anybody out there just listening in, maybe they've been to one of these, they've heard one of these episodes before, but about you, what do you want people to know about you? Quick, 2-3 minute kind of summary of who is D.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me here.
No, thank you. Guys, you might not know this, but D is what would you call that? A last minute replacement. She showed up. She showed up at the right day. We had someone call out, and it was a blessing that she showed up. So she showed up at the right time in the right place, and that means something. So divine providence.
Well, first and foremost, I am a realtor out here in Tampa, Florida, and I'm excited to say I just finished for my interior decorator. So, need any decorating, I definitely can assist you with. And I think for the most part, me as a realtor, what sets me apart is my eye. I have an eye for anything on the property because I also do other work as well.
Details, I guess you're saying? You have an eye for details.
Yes.
And those are good or bad details, yeah?
I think it's good. I know some agents, I'm all about making money. But I don't want to make fun. I don't want to make money off the back of, how can I say it?
You don't want to be
Not
just transactional? Is that what you're looking for?
No, I just don't want to sell someone a property and I see damages to, and they don't notice it because they just see the aesthetics of a home. Oh, this is beautiful. They don't see that water leak that I see coming from the ceiling that could potentially be problematic later on because I see that all the time. So I want to be more of an agent that not only that they can come to and rely on for purchasing property, buildings, whatever the case may be. However, I want to be that agent that they can trust when they're buying a property. They're buying the property as what is, disclosed to them, that there's no issues. So
yeah, there's what's legal, like to talk about in the disclosure, and then there's things that's like, you don't have to disclose there's a dead body here. But wait, D picked up a blood stain. Like,
yes.
Where did you get the eye from? The experience of knowing what to look for? Was there some other special training you had or experience?
Yes, I've been a claim adjuster for properties for quite some time now, and that's all I do. So I go through, I used to be a field inspector, and now I am a desk adjuster. I do currently do that. So we have to review photos, videos very detailedly and pick and choose, what is valid to be covered and what isn't.
So that's why it's good to have a lot of different experiences, because these kind of intertwine and make you better at something. And that's case in point. Like, we all want to have multiple streams of income as investors. I think, I forget where, but like 7's the golden number if you can get it.
That is.
And that can come from different ways. But the more of them that kind of relate to each other, that don't, let's say, violate a certain rule. Like, in real estate, there's always some stinking rule. Well, you can't be the lender and the agent and double dip and like all these things because there's like a conflict of interest. But if you find something congruent and use that to add value, you're going to get a more faithful, a more loyal customer. Definitely. And at the end of the day, that's really important these days, that loyalty. And because first of all, you don't even see it anymore. When it comes to agents, it's like, I've seen people not even hire their own mothers or cousins because they just don't think that person's going to look out for their interests. Yes. And they're wrong. But the point is, if somebody is like, has this skill set, listen, why would we hire somebody else when we know this person could get us the house, get us a discount, identify problems, and decorate that joint afterwards because they got the ideas? Yeah, we're like getting 3 for the price of 1. So why am I going to go to 1 for the price of 1 when I could get 3 for the price of 1? So it's really a value add to the customer, and you're doing them a good service, and you're not just being wishy-washy or hustler-esque. You're actually doing them a better service by having more knowledge that. Because we already know most people don't trust real estate agents because they think they're like trying to sell them something or sell them on something. So yeah, that is pretty sweet. So I like to ask like 3 questions of everybody that comes here,
okay, so
I can get to know them better because we kind of just met. I met the dog, I met your buddy over there,
yes.
But we still don't really know each other. But more for me and for the people who might be listening and watching this, and your future fans, I want to ask 3 questions of you so we can kind of know, where your head is at, what you're about, and where you're going in life, so that if we are going that way too, we're gonna lock arms,
definitely
get to know each other, right? So that's what this part is about. So,
okay.
First question: what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of, personally or just in life in general? Like,
pick what you want. Get whatever you want to share.
I am most proud of my children. To be honest with you, I'm proud on how they turned out. Because I didn't know if I was doing a great job. I know that's a little bit off subject, but
I'm gonna ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How many? 3. Okay. So those are okay odds. I got 6. So the odds are one of them, maybe 2. If 2 might not be so great. So the less you have, the better your odds are, I like to say. But anyway, that's just some random thought that popped in my head.
Yes.
You continue.
Thank you. Well, I'm proud because I do have, she's about to be 21 in a few weeks. She is in the Navy, and she is killing the game. She just hit 2 years, and she is E5 already. She's going to college for cybersecurity, and I have a 19-year-old that lives in Tallahassee, and he's going to school. Professor, I don't know if that's going to change, because at first it was a surgeon. So, but I'm proud. He's living on his own. They both have their own places, work, and doing great. And then I have a 13-year-old at home.
So you said 20, 22,
21.
21. And what was the other one?
19.
You heard that? 19. About to be a surgeon or a doctor or something. I'm doing that for my son in the other room.
Yes. He's on the right path.
Yeah, he's a great kid. Everybody that comes through here thinks he's a great kid, but if I didn't give him give him the ribs a little bit, he'd probably get too comfortable and try to not excel. So I gotta.
Yeah. Oh no, I did that with mine, and they just thought I was the worst. That's why I was like, "Oh Lord, how is my kids? How are they going to turn out?"
Yeah,
and they turned out pretty well.
Exactly. Like don't ever hold that back. Just give it to them, and you make them stronger.
Definitely, they don't understand that when they're younger, high school days. They do. Oh, you would have thought I was the worst person in the world.
That's why a lot of these kids today are so butthurt about every single thing that happens to them, because they just never got drilled or hit with the chancla or just anything to. La correa. Yes. You're Latina? I didn't even know. Oh, look at that. More synergy here. So at what age did you know, like, being an entrepreneur that was in you? Like, you're not made for a job, you're not trying to be corporate. Like, what age was you just like out there hustling?
I want to be honest with you, I knew it around 12 years old.
What were you doing? What was the thing?
I used to, my mom, I love her. She worked like 3 jobs. And when I tell you, I'm not trying to be rude. I don't like authority figures over me. I don't like someone telling me if I can take off, if I can't take off. And
that's just being Latina.
But I realized that so early on. And I'm like, you know what? I used to help her do like housekeeping. And I did that. But then, I started, like my kids do the same thing. I started going around the neighborhood like, hey, you need your dogs walked. I had my own schedule and like, listen, I can walk your dogs at this time to this time.
So dog walking was your first?
No, cleaning was. I was helping, housekeeping with my mom. We used to work in Cape May County area, like Cape May area, with like cleaning the mansions, which it was so much fun doing that because you look at that and you're like, I want this. I want someone coming to my mansion cleaning.
Now the real estate makes sense. Mm-hmm. She got that seed in her mind. She's like, oh, this right here. Yeah. If I can't have it, if I can't pay for it now, I know how to get access to it.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. And also with real estate, my parents owned properties from South Jersey to North Jersey to Philly. So when I seen that, I was like, man. And once I got old enough, I started seeing how like tenants did my parents. And I'm like, no, we need to write up a contract. And this is early on. I'm like, we got to do a contract. My mom was like, well, if you know how to write up something that's, feasible, write up a contract. I did that, and they got nothing but better tenants. I'm like, you need to start doing credit checks and everything else. And this is around 17.
Yeah, so. I want to say that similarly, my parents had real estate, and they didn't really know what to do with it because that wasn't their vein. But they had the building, so they would always try to do these deals with these tenants. Where like, I ain't got a lot of money, but I'll pay to fix it up.
Yes. Never
worked. They always made it work. If there's a wall to fix, what do? They put on one piece of sheetrock they'll drill it. They won't spackle it. They won't paint it. Nothing. It'll just be dry, and that's their contribution. And I actually had to take buildings off their hands simply because them things was falling apart, and these other people were like trying to act like they were adding real value, and they were not, because I'm doing it de la corazon. We're doing a favor, and my parents didn't want to. They weren't about that business. They wanted to do the right thing, and they were trying to help people out, but they were just making it worse for everybody, and what do you call it? Enabling the bad behavior, right? So you forget that if you can whip your kid and teach them the right way, I'm not saying you can whip other people, but you can guide them to be more responsible in a loving way.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to just be transactional, like give me my money every time of the month. No, you want a good, affordable, clean housing. You need to do this part to get that result. And some people just don't get that because they're entitled today. But that's the struggle.
It's different. It's definitely different nowadays, especially if you look back at how you were raised and how you grew up. And like, these kids are not the same. I call them like little, tablet babies, because they keep some sort of electronic device in front of their face. Like, get outside, please.
To that end, are you the type of person knowing that revolts against that and gets mad, or do you try to because this whole thing is about turning something that's not great into something great, right? Like that's the theme that if it hasn't developed fully yet, it's kind of where I'm going is. So I'll give you some context. Like, you know who Gary V is? Gary Vaynerchuk?
No.
Okay. So long story short, very social media guy, marketing guy, created this empire from his YouTube channel, Wine Library TV, and now he's like one of the most respected marketers in the world. Pretty wise, like I said, good guy to learn from. But taking something that is the trend or the way the world is going, and rather than revolting against it, because back in the days, it's like, oh, the television is going to rot your mind. And maybe after that, it was like, oh, comic books are going to rot your mind. And then now it's the tablets are going to rot your mind. First of all, just bitching about it without just because you're old.
Yes.
Because it's not the way you grew up. First of all, getting rid of that because you're not going to stop it. But embracing it and taking it and getting in front of it.
Yes.
And if their face is in the phone, then you need to be in their phone so that you're back in their face. You kind of witnessed a little bit of that just being here today because I was showing you these kind of little cool things. And it's like, if you're going to be here. So why I asked that is if you think about it, like kids today are way more technologically savvy. They're going to fly. Like my 6-year-old daughter's out here doing Minecraft stuff and making things. Yeah. My other daughter's coding. My other son, they're doing things that I wish I could do.
Yes.
And at a young age. So there's a benefit to all these things, but yes, attention and all these other things. So there's this double-edged sword with it. But if you just learn to lean into it and be like, okay, that's the way it's going to be, then I'm going to get in front of it, and these are the ways I'm going to get in front of it. You can benefit from that instead of always be fighting it or.
I agree.
And your kids are going to appreciate that more because they're like, you're trying to understand and not just be like finger wagging at them,
See, what I did with my children, I can only speak for what I have done. They stayed with an iPad in their face. So I made it fun for them. I let them choose educational apps. I don't care if I paid for it or not, but they wanted to play games. So I made it so.
That's exactly what I mean.
Learn off of this game, and you can play it, but you give them a time frame, either an hour, 2 hours, okay, and then you can play whatever you want and show me the scores. You got to get good scores off of it. So that's how I kind of negotiated with them. Well, compromise, I should say.
No, well, my version of that was like, how do you learn how to read, right? Like, what if you don't like reading? Well, fortunately, I did, but I learned off of Sesame Street. Mm-hmm. True story. I went to first grade back in the day. I was 4 years old in first grade. I graduated at 16. I just stayed ahead.
Yes.
Sesame Street was how I learned how to read and write before I went to school. So they were like, why put this kid in kindergarten? He already knows everything. That was now, developmentally, they don't do that anymore. Yes. But the point is, I did that. Comic books, they'll rot your mind. My creativity comes from reading comic books because I didn't really like to just read just words. I like to see pictures. Yes. So I think in pictures. That got me the love of reading, and I got hit by a car when I was 7 years old, and I was in the hospital, nothing to do but watch stupid TV, and everybody's arguing over TV. And my mom's cousin bought me a stack of comic books, and when he did that, I had this whole world. I'm stuck in a body cast for weeks. I got comic books now, so it made me want to learn how to draw, be creative, storytelling. So I say that is because if you're the type of person that without the what do they call that? There's different mindsets. There's a closed mindset, and then there's the not the open mindset. There's a different word, but mindset. The mindset is, how am I going to learn from this, right?
Yes.
Not how am I going to fight against this thing that's going to overwhelm me and just make me miserable all day because I can't stop it. It's too big. Take that and turn it into like you did. You want to play games? Okay, educational app. That's the only thing I'm buying for you. If it ain't going to teach you nothing, I'm not buying it. You have to figure it out on your own. And of course, they're going to take the freebie, right? So like you flipped it. So
definitely.
Bravo. What's your vision for the future?
My vision for the future is I don't mind doing what I do now because I definitely keep my 9 to 5 while I, work.
Your 9 to 5 is agent because that's pretty flexible.
No, I am still flexible as an agent. As you can see, I'm here today, and I'm still doing the work that I do as my 9 to 5. But my 9 to 5 is a claim adjuster.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Got it. And that's fine because the thing that people do need to learn is this. Without some kind of financial base, I don't care what kind of entrepreneur you think you're going to be, if you don't have some stability and breathing room, you probably will not get there. Now it's crazy that there's people out there that never had a job starting these tech companies with these big ideas. There are a few of them that are equipped to do so, but the people that are not equipped to actually take instructions will never be good leaders. And the reason why is if you don't know how to take instruction and follow through, how you ever going to teach anybody to take your instruction and follow through? So you got to have both. You have to have a little bit of both. Same thing in real estate. Like people are like, I want to go invest in real estate. Well, I don't want to get my hands dirty. I just want passive income. You want passive income? Cool. You're going to be making almost no money because you don't understand what it takes to do anything or what it costs. So if your first 2 properties, let's say you didn't go and you didn't paint and know what paint costs, or you didn't do a roof and know what a roof costs, they're going to be killing you with these prices because you're just not going to know who, because you never paid for it yourself, right? So if you don't pay these dues, for want of a better word, you're never going to get fully rounded out, fully all the information you need to make the intelligent investment decisions. You're just going to throw money at a problem and you're going to wonder why. Well, damn, there's not really any money in real estate. The reason why is because you just don't know enough.
Yes.
You never did enough, so you don't know enough. You haven't really solved any problems. You just try to be lazy and leverage everybody else because that's the world we live in. It's all click a couple buttons and then be done. Sure, my app is a trash app. It costs $9 per bag to pick up. That's a lot of money. You know what? You know what's a lot of money? You having to go clean up a mess from a party, drive all the way to the dump, maybe wait in a line, waste 6-7 hours of your life. So what is 4 hours of your life worth? 3 hours, 2 hours. What's the gas money worth? What's the toll worth?
Yes.
What's the drag on your life worth? Or you could pay this, press a button, and it could be done. That's a little bit too expensive. Okay, well, again, we all got to pick what we're gonna pay. You want to pay for with your life and your time and your so
it's the mindset. Yes. I think, because if you're extremely busy, time is money. You can be busy doing something else, like scheduling something else. If you have something like event property that you can be busy working on something else while someone else is picking up the trash. Because what is worth, let's say 5 bags, $50. What is $50 worth?
In time and aggravation.
Yes.
Right?
I know. I don't want to.
If you're a cleaner and you're like, I make my money cleaning the house, not taking the trash to the dump.
Yes.
And you got to put a bunch of trash in your car because you can't put it out by the curb because they're going to get a fine. And then that's $75 on the owner. You can't go, you don't want to drive back there the next day and come get it from the yard or whatever. The things they want you to do for them for free. Or don't do that. Stay in your lane, because if that's money you could be making actually cleaning another house instead of running around for other people doing what they don't pay you for.
Yes.
So I think about those things because it's like, yeah, you can do everything, but should you do everything? What is your highest and best use? If you don't start thinking like that, you're going to be forever hustling. You can work as hard as you want, but you're not going to get a result you want because you did not learn how to invest your time and energy properly.
I agree.
You just try to do it all yourself. And there's this balancing act, and that's the game.
I agree.
That's the game. That's why when I was doing real estate, I had a license for a minute. I used to tell people, look, I'm not trying to do none of this paperwork. I would get it sold. You handle the paperwork. You can have half of my commission. I just don't want to deal with none of the paperwork because I don't want to deal with it. And it was worth it for me.
Yes.
Well, you giving up half your commission. I'm giving up 100. I'm giving up no freedom. I mean, I want my freedom. Yes. I don't give a shit about that half of commission, right? So people don't understand it. It was like, how do you want to enjoy your life? So little bit of a side note, but to that end, yeah. What is your time worth is the biggest thing.
I agree.
Yeah. So this next part is really simple. We're going to talk these ideas, and I know you had one. Yes. So I'm going to let you go first. I don't even know what I'm going to share right now. I have a cheat sheet here, so I'll probably go into something. But having said that, let's hear what this idea of yours is.
Okay, I think it'll be a great idea as an agent to have an app where even if you have open houses and you're showing property, yeah, you can go on Showtime if it's on the MLS, but if it's not, just for the protection of people, because I know I've run into, I don't mean to be rude, but a lot of weirdos out here. They would show you proof of funds, their pre-approval letters, and it's just like they want other things out of it. And sometimes you feel unsafe. I even went and got my concealed weapon license, and I do carry for when I go to like showings or open houses, I really think it's not stressed enough in the real estate world, but an app where they have to upload all their information, where you know who they are and it like identifies who they are. And whether it's a background check, I haven't like thought of like all the kinks yet, but I think it would be very important to have an app where people upload their information and it's still protected, but you know who they are. And if anything was to happen, like you see on the news all the time, agents either being killed or it's just strange things that occur when it comes to it. So real estate, everybody sees the pretty side of real estate, but there is also an ugly side to it. So I really think an app for showings is very important. It identifies the people and the times that you're going to be there, so there is no incidents that could occur where an agent could be taken advantage of or harmed.
Okay, questions. Who pays for it?
Who pays for the app?
Yeah, like in other words, so usually apps or services are free, and then either the agent pays something or the person who gets who's getting this background check pays something to get the showing, and that's tricky because with the rules around fair housing and things like that, they can always be like, well, you don't like me because I'm black or whatever. And it's just like, I get it, but I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate for the overbearing regulations that are out there, because you're dealing with it real and feelings because you're there, and these people are sitting there making rules about stuff that they don't got the full picture. They're just trying to check some marks.
Yes.
Do we violate this or that? So it has to be like a really kind of rapid background check. And the cheapest thing that wouldn't cost would be like a social. It's almost like a social media sweep. So for example, I know Airbnb, there were some services for short-term rentals where they would do this almost. It's not a deep background check, but it's like a socials, right?
Yes.
And what it does is it just kind of goes through the last, everything they can find real quick and throws you a report for like a quick, I don't know, it was like $15 or $20 or something a month, right? But what was cool about that one is if you're going to rent your Airbnb or short-term rental, the person that's trying to rent it might go back through their whole Instagram and be like, this person throws parties. They like advertising on Instagram, because we used to do that in our group. We would like identify each other, but it was hard work. It was just like, it was like a round robin. We looked out for each other. There was no central app, and there were services. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, real estate agents already get, they only get a piece of a piece of a piece, right?
Yes.
So how would you sell this? Who would you sell this to, and how would you sell this? Because there's two ways you can go about it, but I do know this. You're going to get pushback if it's coming from the actual buyer, themselves.
Yes.
Potential buyer themselves.
No, I agree to that. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I just want the identity to be disclosed. You know who you're showing, like who you're meeting up with and who they are, and they have the proper credentials to show the property. I just feel like it's important for you to know who you're showing the property to, and they match with who they say they are.
How big of a market? Like, okay, so do you see any other use cases for something like this? Call it velvet rope. Let's call this app velvet rope. It's almost like you got to get into a club. You got to pass through some visual certification to be able to access, let's just say, not just real estate, because if you just say that, then you're under the real estate laws, where you could use it for other things, so that you could bundle it together and people could use it for real estate, but it's not specifically for real estate. Okay. And they can't say, well, if it's real estate related, we got to go under all these regulations, because the more regulations, the harder cost prohibitive it becomes. So could you see this velvet rope idea, I'm just calling it that to give it a word, could be used for any other use cases? Because that might be where something like this could work better than just real estate, which is super regulated.
I understand real estate is regulated. That I think it would be beneficial. You pay a membership for the MLS. You know what I mean? Like for the Tampa's realtors, you pay that membership annually. I honestly think it should be bundled up in that, and that is provided to you.
You know who can pay for this?
It's part of your membership. I think that would be Just like they have the Savvy app. It has your agent number on there. It has everything.
I'm thinking banks and lenders could do this. Hear me out, because if there's going to be a transaction that's going to require a mortgage, you're going to need a lot of that crap anyway.
Yes.
And it's almost like you require before anything I always thought that this is the world we live in. You should, let me pull it back. What I did.
Yes.
I was never going to show a house if I didn't have to. I was going to send you a video. I was going to tell you to drive the neighborhood. And if you liked the video and you drove the neighborhood and you liked it, then I'm going to let you in. Why? Because you know how many times people will drive a neighborhood and like, I don't like this, I don't like that, whatever. So you go do that first. So they actually had to do a couple things before I would actually go and show up for anything.
Okay.
You've seen the videos, so you already know what it looks like. You already drove the neighborhood, so you already know what that's like. So there was this kind of pre-qualification process. So something like that, where they have to follow a certain amount of steps before they can show up in the house, and maybe pre-qualification will be the third one, because it requires a certain amount of identification. That people are gonna not like it, but if it's forced, if enough people get on board with it, and maybe it takes the big guys to do it first, the big houses, and then kind of trickles down. Yes, it should work. You're gonna get some pushback. You're gonna get this inequality and equity. And what about all right? I'm gonna say it's trash for now, but because there's a lot of hurdles. What will make it cash is steering around the regulations. In other words, Trojan horse. Get it in there where real estates can use it, but it's not really a real estate app. If you push it as a real estate app, you're going to deal with all the laws, regulations, and the bullshit that comes politically.
But you mean
for
to
housing.
tell me you have yet, as an agent, you didn't waste your time with someone that wasn't really trying? Like,
no. I'm not saying.
There's a lot of time wasted. So
okay, I'm going to give you an example.
I'm going to give you an example. All the wasting the time.
I'm going to give you an example of a use for something that nobody thought about.
Okay.
Okay. Uber's not a real estate app.
Okay.
Agreed?
I agree.
I used to pay people in an Uber to go see if my contractors were working on a house. I'm not your customer. I want you to go to this address, get eyes, look around, see if you see people working, and let me know, because I didn't have a camera. Was it a real estate app?
No.
Did I use it for real estate?
Definitely.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to sneak it in. You got to find some other ways to make it useful to other people outside of real estate. And then the real estate people on the sneak tip, the agents, the underground, will use it that way. Because if you go head on with the real estate part, yes, that's where the money is, but that's where the most resistance is going to be, because people are going to start saying unfair housing and I don't have, all the damn stupid things that they come up with today to rail against something. But if you figure out a creative rate, and you could maybe even use it that way, a creative way to use something that already exists, or a different way to package it, where it's broader, but you could still use it that way, I think then it could win, because it has a broader use space, but it's used for that on the sneak tip.
I don't think it will be considered unfair housing. It's just identifying yourself through an app. It's just putting something in that you are who you say you are.
I mean, I guess if you can convince people to pay for it themselves, like almost like a rental application, right?
Okay. I don't think that would work out.
I know.
I don't think that would work out.
That's what I'm saying. They have to volunteer it, because if they didn't volunteer it somehow, then they're going to say, well, you used my information against me for whatever reason, because people don't want to accept the fact that they don't make enough money. They think it's, you didn't like me. No, it's just identity app. As far as, if they, how everyone has to get pre-approved. I know if you don't show me a pre-approved letter or cash. I get it. The identity piece is the problem, because Airbnb, back to Airbnb. Yes. Airbnb stopped letting people see the host.
Yes.
They stopped taking IDs, period.
Oh, wow.
For a while. Now, I think they went back to it because people were just like, what the hell? I have no control over my property. You're letting anybody in here. They're scamming. They're just starting an account. They don't even have a real name.
Yes.
Because they wanted to appeal to other people that said the same excuse. We feel like we're being discriminated against because I have a black name. I have a Spanish name, whatever. I feel like they're discriminating. And they would take that literally like, that you must be right. because they want to err in the side of their customer, not the person. But there's two sides to that customer story,
Yes.
right? You're a customer too. You're the agent. You're part of that ecosystem. So they were trying too hard to appeal to one person because of trying to be politically correct and all this other stuff. But they were putting other people in danger. Hosts, scammers were getting in, robbing whole houses, all this because they were just making up fake accounts. And it was real easy because they weren't taking ID.
Yes.
So you have to, that's what goes back to this. If you take a full ID, they might say, well, they see a picture of you. They might, if you reject it, let's say they get rejected for any reason. It's because I'm this, my situation, or what I'm BPOC, whatever. I'm a person of color.
Yes.
They don't like me. That's why. And then they start, lawyers, frivolous lawsuits.
Yes.
This is the dumb crap that everybody from Airbnb hosts to HOAs to real estate brokers, we all got to wade through because people just don't like hearing the word no, and they're going to use any excuse. And they're going to say ID because it's like, well, my personal information, it's a lot. And I'm just saying to you, for something like this to work, you got to come in the side door.
Yeah.
Somehow, and going right into real estate is too ripe for, what's the word I'm looking for? Not misuse, but for exploitation. And it goes on both sides. They're exploiting my information. They're looking at my picture.
It's not about that. I think you're misunderstanding where I'm saying it's just, you want to purchase a home, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you usually go through a process of
you meet an agent. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm interested at viewing this home. Okay, no problem. Do you have a pre-approval letter already so I can know what your price range is to view the home? Or, you're going to have proof of funds. Okay. No problem. They have that already. They're already looking. So they have to submit that to you anyway. I always ask for that, and they email me over their information. So that right there alone has...
okay. So basically taking what is already asked for and putting it in a central place that does just a little extra work.
Yeah. It's not... You could send the app to their phone, and they could just upload it right then and there. And you have it right there, but that's the identity of the person. Turo is a perfect example.
Okay. It's based. Thank you, because I was
just wanted
going
to
a whole
clarify.
other way.
Yes, because I was like, I don't know if you're
Turo for real estate. Basically, Turo will make you. You have to identify the person showing up. They got to show you the same license,
Yes.
or they cannot access the car. Yeah. And because real estate is worth more than a car, you could literally do Turo for real estate the same way. And it's the whole Turo process. Take a couple pictures. Give me these documents.
Yes.
And then when you show up, I need to see that ID. Because if that ID doesn't match what's on this app, you ain't coming in here and this is over.
It's just for the protection of agents.
No, that's the way.
It.
Okay, back to, this is cash. If you replicate Turo, the process that Turo uses to identify, to keep people from, safe, literally you could just clone Turo almost and make the same process, and it will probably satisfy that same requirement with a couple extra documents. And that would just be like the pre-qualification.
Yes.
It's cash.
I just want to know.
You changed my mind.
Yes, because I'm like,
that's
where
never
is he
happened
going
before.
With this? I was like, where is he going with this? I'm like, hold on. I think it's a misunderstanding.
No, thank you.
No, but that's my only
So when
worry.
When you pitch this,
Yes.
you're gonna this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go get free Canva, get a presentation deck.
Okay.
Go find whatever deck Turo used, copy it, make it for real estate. And use that and pitch that, and I guarantee you probably would get picked up if you use that Turo process of identification.
Yes.
And just turn it into this real estate thing. You probably could get that made for nothing and make something out of that, and that could be your thing.
Yes.
Do it. Go find a Turo deck. You probably find it, Google it, find out what they use to pitch Turo.
Okay.
Use Turo, just see what it's like. The parts they tell you to take pictures, take the ID and their rules. Take all that together, put it in a pitch deck. It's Turo for real estate. What do you mean? Instead of a car, it's a house.
Yes.
The same process.
And
how much does Turo make? Billions. Okay, cool. I'm in.
Yes.
Dude.
That's all
Give me
I
a
want.
cut. Give me a cut.
Okay. But that's all. Instead of, everyone don't always check their emails, and everyone say, oh, we didn't receive it. Spam. Some people don't receive it, and just to cut to the chase, everyone uses their phones. I don't care. I know elderly people that know how to work a phone better than me. So it's just like, boom, you have that on there. You're looking for a home. You already know that's what you want. Why not just have that on there, even if it's temporary, but it's just for protection for both.
Yeah, and you just get cut. You just actually just get a cut of the. It could fund itself basically if it was used during a transaction, and that person goes through the process. There, it's either monetized by. It's free to the person because they put it on there. Now they have a file, and then they could just keep using that file. It's like already in there. Yeah. And then, if a lender is part of that transaction and they're part of the network, okay, lender, give me a little cut. Some of it comes out of, like, it could be partitioned out to sustain itself from the MLS fees and the lender or whatever other. There's probably some verticals in there that you could use. Sell the design services. Put the trash.
Yes.
Give you some free trash pickup because you're a customer. I don't know, but there's a lot. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sometimes I'm stupid.
No, I think you just took it the wrong way.
I did. And to be honest with you, that's a lesson we both learned is for your ideas to ever be, you have to get them out first. And you got to hear from people. You got to argue a little bit.
Yes.
And then somebody's got to click in there. But here's the thing. We live in a world where people are just trying to make you hurry up. You got 5 minutes. If you can't pitch me in 5 minutes. The cool thing about this right now is now you're going to be able to get it down to 5 minutes because I just told you to clone this and call it that, and Pretty you much. Should be good to go.
Yes.
I want to see this thing. When in fact, for real, when you do it, show it to me.
Okay.
Because I'll be like, okay, this, and this, and use this, and let's go pitch this. Let me see who will buy this thing, and maybe that's the thing we do. Because I can see that now.
Yes.
Interesting.
I think it's very beneficial.
Beneficial? No, I don't care about beneficial. I want to make some money.
I'm with you on that. I definitely want to make some money too.
I care about.
I also want to help.
I care about
others.
safety.
Safety is very important.
Because for real, that's a very real problem, and we know security is. Your man's in security, right? Security is a big thing these days because people can lie and do all kinds of things. So the more ways we can kind of mitigate that risk, especially for women out in the field, the more because that could be my mom one day, my daughter, my wife, right? Like. Can save their life.
Yes, I agree.
So, yeah, cool. I don't even know what I want to pitch because now that came out. Let me see. I know we're running short on time. All right, I'm gonna give you an idea because I used to be a firefighter.
Okay.
I think it's pretty good. It's small, but it could be big enough to probably be like a, 8-figure a year kind of deal.
Okay.
So. Because you're in real estate or in commercial, it just needs to be a certain amount of fire protection in a building, right? What do they tell you when you have a kitchen, you gotta have a little fire extinguisher. Most of the time when apartment buildings, firefighters do VBIs or they go through a building and they check to make sure all this. One of the things they check is to make sure that the fire extinguishers are still
active
and not expired. Yeah, because of chemicals, right? So if there was an app for fire extinguisher companies to either it communicates with the fire department when they find one expired, or even people in the property management could just do, and they could just simply tell you when it's expired. Your tags expire. You just filled out as you go through the building. You mark the thing, and it just tells you when they expire, so you replace them out. And it would the main person who would make an app like this that makes the most sense is people who sell fire extinguishers, right?
Yes.
That alone helps the people because it keeps safety, helps the firefighters, and also is a really big business for like the fire extinguisher companies because they know when things are supposed to expire. So they can just literally like, hey, you got 3 coming, you got 3 expiring, so they're just going to be sent to you. We're going to come through, whatever. Point is, it's like an app that just tracks the fire safety, fire extinguishers of all fire extinguishers that are sold in a building to keep fire safety.
That makes sense. You scan them once you deliver them, and then you get a notification a week or 2 before it expires.
It's really a tracking app just to keep people safe, but I feel like it should be, the main thing is to get the fire departments on board and make sure because you're going to miss one. So when they know they got to go do an inspection for an apartment building or whatever, they can just be like, all right, so most of them are still in compliance. Go check a couple randoms and then just let's make sure these 3 are done. Or this building's got 3 coming up. We're not going to go and just do a random. We're going to go when that thing's expired and go check if they changed them out or not. And it's that simple. So you don't have to wait. It's efficient for the firefighters, so they don't really have to just go out random and feel like they're wasting their time. It's like, well, they got a few expiring. Go do it. Could it be manipulated? Maybe. I don't know. But I feel like for safety, for public safety, for something that could be, that tech can actually help make everybody's lives better, easier, things getting done faster, more efficiently, that would be a good app.
I think so as well. People don't know how important it is for fire extinguishers until you actually need it.
Yeah, or how to use them. Half the time people are like, how do you
yes. Yes, that's true.
So that maybe that's part of the app. It's like, hey, you got this app. Here's your fire safety code. Yeah, and by the way, here's how you use it. It's like a little video. I mean,
yes.
it could be that too.
Well, if they have the app, they can have, I guess, due to the model, because I know there's different types of fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
And whatever model you scan, it's a video.
Yeah, there's about, there are 4 or 3. There's like, an electrical one, like different things burning. It's A, B, and C.
Yes.
There a D, I guess you could call the powder the D, but there's different type of powders. The point is, it's just like for the consumer, they don't have to know too much. They just got to know, like, this is the right ones in the right place.
Yes.
And to expand it as a product line, you could just take that and make other things that have to be regularly inspected. Could be as simple as smoke alarm battery needs to be changed. It could be anything fire and safety related.
Yes.
That just makes it easy for the property owner, manager, or owner to just be like, okay, let me go send my guy. He doesn't have to go all over the world. You got just these 2 buildings today to handle 3 buildings today, instead of just randomly just walking it, doing circles. You know what I mean? Like just jumping, running all over the place. It's like I already know my route, making it easily trackable for them. And then if anything ever happens, you get a bad fire extinguisher because shit happens. You already know who to track it to. It's like, oh well, who do we sue? Okay, they said they inspected it. They did. Okay, so manufacturer default, or nobody's pointing fingers anymore. They're like, oh, the property manager should have changed it. No, we're on compliance. You're the one that's not in compliance. So the accountability part is already handled hands off. That's it.
That's a good idea.
All right. I don't know if it's one of those I don't know yet, probably for the right person, but like it's something I thought of.
I think it is a great idea. And I do think it'd be feasible, especially with apartment buildings, because they're supposed to keep them in there anyway. It's
a whole building. I mean, it could extend to
that's protecting their investment.
The age of their hoses that are like locked up because they dry rot over time. It could be a lot of things. It's just basically a fire safety app that tracks all the necessary equipment to help the firefighters make sure that when they're going in, that like nothing's going to fail on them, because that's how shit happens. It's like,
I agree.
Oh, we didn't do an inspection here. We skipped 2 years. People kept, no, you got to, like, it's your time. It's there. It's going to remind you. It's going to keep bugging you till you do it.
I think that will be
for the right operator. That's a cash idea.
Yes,
for the right.
I honestly think it would be for apartment buildings, condos,
any commercial property.
I do think that would be beneficial.
Cool. Well, that's it. How'd you like it?
I love it.
You glad you stayed?
I am.
I didn't waste your time?
No, you did not.
Okay. Yeah.
Feels good to be back in front of a mic.
Oh, wait, you have experience behind it? Wait. You had a radio show? Tell me something.
I had a podcast.
What?
Yes.
We waited all this time and you didn't even, what happened to it?
Well, it was just differences between other cast members and I, so we just kind of let it go.
Cast members?
Well,
you're leaving something out.
Other people that was involved with it. We had our differences.
Other hosts.
Yes, hosts.
I thought you were talking about cast members. No, using a TV show?
No,
this
TV
is like
show.
One of those behind the scenes reality TV shows where they come and they start podcasting.
Yes, so we had our differences on topics and everything else. I love to try to keep things business oriented. I am not one. I would discuss personal, but for the most part, let's keep it business. Let's grow our business. Let's expand. So that was... They
weren't on board with that? Or are they just thinking about other things?
Other things that I'm not willing to, discuss.
Spill.
No.
Talk trash. We
talk trash, but it was just not what... It was differences. That's it.
All right, D.
It was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Nice
it was nice meeting you, too.
You.
It was, like I said, divine providence today. Yes. How about this? When you did your podcast, how did y'all sign off? How did you say goodbye to people?
You want to know? No. We just had like our little slogans. Let
me hear it.
I don't know.
I'm still working on ours. I haven't found the one I love yet.
You have to have something that's like...
Well, give me one. Let me see. Maybe you come up with a better one. I know what I say, but I want to hear... I'm always listening to what other people got because I haven't found that perfect signing off kind of like thing yet. Not the one that I love yet. I haven't found one I love.
Your podcast is Trash or Cash. Thank you for joining Trash and Cash podcast. Hopefully you tune in next time. Something that's like you love and you're putting
Do it again, but don't say anything else because you're gonna do. You're ready? Cue that back. Okay. Say the ending because we're gonna stop with that.
Thank you for joining Trash and Cash podcast. Join next time. Hopefully we see you next time. Join next time. I don't know how you want it.
Okay, no, that's good. The thank you. No, it was.
Want me to do it again?
No, nah. This is all just coming off the top of the head. Nah,
Yes.
I'll tell you what I was saying. I was saying, all right, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed the Trash or Cash podcast. D, your socials. If people want to get in, that's what I forgot. If people want to get in touch with you about real estate in Sarasota, Tampa, wherever you at, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, Diedra the Realtor.
Diedra.
Diedra. The, not the with, D-A. It's spelled properly. T-H-E. Realtor, R-E-A-L-T-O-R. Diedra the Realtor.
And Instagram, right?
That's Instagram. And on Facebook, you can find me. My name, Diedra Smith. Diedra. Smith, S-M-I-T-H.
Y'all heard it here. And even though she disrespected the DA like Roscoe the Mouth, that's okay because she's speaking proper English and we were talking slang with Roscoe. For me, it's Jason Centeno, a.k.a. the dad next door on IG, FB, all these other places. LinkedIn is Jason Centeno and Trashmitter. If you want to see what the trash biz is all about, here Roscoe the Mouth, his adventures, see him dancing and DJing, which is brand new, but we're making it happen. And this place right here is the collab. Glad you got to see it. If you guys want to tap in or be around more entrepreneurs and get into conversations deep like this and do some Trash or Cash talk, love to have you come swing by 4007 North Taliaferro Avenue in Tampa. Right off of the 275 exit, 46B, MOK. And yeah, if you're trying to find us, if you want to stalk us, if you want to be a fan, if you want to throw me some money, if you want me to pick up some trash, you could just use the app. But if you want to bring me some cash, that's the address. And that's it. I'm out.
Well, that concludes this episode of Trash or Cash. Make sure you follow on all socials at Trashmitter. That's TRASHMITTER. And keep up with all episodes at trashorcashpodcast.com.